Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I'm going to talk about proof that narcissists are miserably unhappy. I talked about this in one of my reels, but I'm going to go more in depth about this. What a lot of people think is that the narcissist moves on in their life, they go to the new supply, and they always try to look happy with the new supply. And they fool people because they post pictures of themselves with the new supply. Oh, look at me. We're so happy. They post things of them doing things that they never did with you. So you're thinking, wow, the narcissist is happy, you're feeling really lousy. But don't be fooled by that, because deep down, a narcissist is miserably unhappy. And I'm going to give you proof of that. Yesterday, I did a little bit with the reel that I talked about how narcissists are miserably unhappy. And the proof of that is that they're completely irritable people. Okay? When you're around a narcissist, most of the time you're walking on eggshells because the narcissist is just a nitpicker. Nothing makes them happy. Nothing satisfies them. They complain about how the house is, whether it's not clean enough or you're not doing your part. They complain how you raise the children. They complain how you cook. They complain how you look or how you do things. Okay? So the narcissist is just very, very a nitpicker, all right? And they're very, very sensitive people. The slightest little thing can tick a narcissist off. So when people are happy, they're more relaxed. They're more laid back. They don't care about the little things, okay? Because they have an overall sense of peace and sense of happiness. But a narcissist is very, very unhappy. And this is why they are a nervous wreck. This is why they pick on everything and pick on you. Because a lot of times when a narcissist picks on you, it's not even about anything that you did specifically. It's just that they're unhappy within themselves, or they're angry, or they're miserable about something, all right? Somebody got under their skin, because they're extremely, extremely sensitive. And the irony in all of that is they're always calling you sensitive. That's projection. They're always projecting who they are and how they feel onto you. But deep down, they're very, very, sensitive to criticism. But you have to be careful too, because a lot of victims of narcissistic abuse are also sensitive of criticism because they've been criticized their whole relationship with the narcissist. So the minute somebody says something, they assume that they're attacking them and everything. But with narcissists, they're wicked with it, all right? That's the difference. The thing is, the other reason that you know that narcissists are so unhappy is because they have to constantly move from partner to partner. They always think that the grass is greener somewhere else. If they were so happy, why do they always have to jump from partner to partner? They wouldn't have to jump from partner to partner if they were internally feeling happy or feeling fulfilled. They never feel fulfilled. The narcissist is an empty pit, all right? Inside, they have an empty pit of emptiness, feeling less than. And it's usually because, they were either over-validated, under-validated, and there's also a genetic component as well to, it's nature versus, the nature of somebody's personality along with environmental factors of their growing up in their childhood is how they became narcissistic. But the point I'm trying to make in all this is they fool people with their image. They try to portray to everybody else, oh, they're so happy. Oh, they're living their best life. They have some of the fakest Instagrams out there, always trying to show that they're, living this great life, when behind closed doors, they're fighting with their partners, okay? This is like also, the people that you see, I'm just using this as an example, but the people you see on Instagram, the couples, oh, they look so happy, this and that. And meanwhile, the next day you hear they got divorced because they're not showing you that deep down they're unhappy. They want everybody to think they've got this great life. They've got this great marriage. But the way they live, the way that proof that they're miserably unhappy is that they just can't relax. They just can't, accept what they have. They're never happy with what they have. They never appreciate what they have. And this is why they always seek more, more, more. This is why they always feel the grass is greener somewhere else. Because if you were really happy in your life, you wouldn't always be seeking something else. You'd feel happy. You'd feel content. What's other proof that the narcissist is incredibly unhappy? The fact that they have to talk about other people and put them down, all right? These are your haters. These are the people on social media that always have to be sarcastic or give a wise-ass remark because, and it's over nothing that you've done to them personally, but they're the ones that are wicked with it in the comments because they're miserable. That's a miserable person. That's a miserable person inside. And when they see somebody that's either doing well or popular or, they're just jealous of, they're the ones that the narcissist is going to attack and make their sarcastic remarks because they're miserable and they want to bring you down. So when another proof that narcissists are miserably unhappy is the fact that they always have to bring other people down, okay? People that are happy don't sit there and talk about other people and smear them or put them down, all right? They don't care because they're happy within themselves. They don't care what anybody else is doing. When I'm happy, I couldn't care less what is going on in someone else's life because I'm happy, I'm content, I'm good. But a person who's, miserable inside is always going to look to put someone else down or talk about someone else in order to make themselves feel better. So that's how narcissists are. In order for themselves to feel better, they've got to put somebody else down, okay? And also, you guys, it's like this. Don't ever take it personally because you may have not done anything personally wrong to this narcissist. They just may hate you because of your light, your innocence, the truth within you, all right? So that's why they don't like you as well, because you're happy. They hate people that are happy. And because that's something that they don't have. And you'll see that. You'll see a narcissist attack somebody who's happy in their life. Maybe they post a picture and they're happy in their life and somebody puts a wise-ass remark on there, okay? Because they're jealous of seeing someone else happy. That's what it is. Because they're so miserable within themselves. If they were so happy, why would they care if someone else looks happy? They wouldn't, all right? They wouldn't. Other proof that the narcissist is miserably unhappy is the fact that they always got to stalk their exes. Why would they need to even care what their exes are doing if they were so happy? They're not. So that's why they always are watching their social media to see what's going on with them, see if they are happy. They want to check to see if their exes are happy, and then they want to throw a wrench in it to try to spoil it or ruin it or mess with their head by pretending to care and come back into their life, not because they care about their exes, but because they want to destroy them. And maybe they see their exes moving on and they look happy and everything and they want to come back in. They want to reel them in. They want to control them because they're unhappy and they don't want to see their ex move on, be free, and be happy. All right? That's more proof that a narcissist is deep down. They're miserable, miserable people. Okay? The other thing too is when somebody can't be vulnerable, that is a person who is very guarded, and they're guarded for a reason. They're guarded because they don't trust anybody and because they've been hurt. That's more proof the narcissist is very unhappy because they can't be vulnerable, all right? They can't open up to somebody. So they're always guarded. And the other thing too, they're very paranoid, all right? Narcissists are very paranoid. They always think that you're doing what they're doing, okay? Shady shit. You're lying, you're cheating, and everything like that. When somebody is happy, they're not going to be always, suspicious that somebody's out to get them. Suspicious, all right? Sorry, you guys, it's very early, all right? So the thing is this. The narcissist is miserably unhappy, and there is absolutely nothing you or anybody else can do to fix that. The unhappiness lies within themselves, but unfortunately, narcissists can't self-reflect and look at themselves and see that they're unhappy. So they live in denial. Narcissists live in denial because they don't want to face that shame. And they want to think that their life is great. They want to think that, they're the best. They actually think that they're great people. This is the joke. This is how delusional they could be. They actually think that they're great people and that you're the narcissist, all right? So that's more proof that narcissists are miserably, miserably unhappy. The other proof that narcissists are miserably unhappy is the fact that they always cause chaos. They can't live in peace. Narcissists always want to pick a fight about something. They always want chaos because they have to control things. Now, that brings me to my next point. When people have to control things, why do you think people have to control things? I'm going to give you guys the psychology behind why the narcissist has to control everything. Because they have very high anxiety, all right? They have all these fears within themselves. So do you actually think a person with extreme anxiety, that with a need for control, is a happy person? Absolutely not. They're not happy, okay? Why? Because they can't be at peace. They can't relax. So because the narcissist is a nervous wreck, guess what? They're going to make you a nervous wreck. That's why people, after being with a narcissist, have gone into depression, anxiety. They end up getting autoimmune diseases. They end up getting panic attacks. They have other health issues. They could get cancer. They could have their hair falling out. There's 101 different things that could happen to your mental health, your physical health, after being around this anxious, unhappy narcissist. They're going to make you into what they are, okay? Which is anxious, depressed, unhappy, all right? But see, people don't realize the narcissist puts on a good front, all right? The narcissist doesn't want you to know all these things. But if you've studied narcissists the way I have and way some of the other people who really know narcissists and have been around them their whole life, we will tell you that these people are a nervous wreck, that even a covert narcissist deep down is a nervous wreck. They don't show it because they're not vocalizing and communicating and expressing how they really feel. Instead, they hold it inside like a smoking gun till they're ready to bust, all right? That's why a covert narcissist could sit there and stay quiet, and then all of a sudden they could snap out at you from nowhere, and you're like, where the fuck did that come from, okay? Because they were holding it inside till they exploded on you. And that's when a covert narcissist could be dangerous, and especially a covert malignant narcissist. That's when people can get hurt because they don't realize they're dealing with a very dangerous, dangerous person, all right? Take somebody like Chris Watts, who killed his wife and his kids. From the outside, you would never know that he was a miserably unhappy guy, all right? He tried to portray he's happy in his family, he loved his wife, all of this. But inside, he was a smoking gun, all right? Till he finally, he snapped because he couldn't take it anymore. He wanted out of his marriage. He wanted to move on with this new girlfriend. And so he killed his wife and he killed his daughters in such a horrific way, all right? He was a covert, malignant narcissist, all right? And his wife probably didn't even see it coming, all right? Because she didn't realize how dangerous he really was. Although I always say there's red flags there, all right? There's red flags. But sometimes covert narcissists can hide it so well, and then they could snap out at you, okay? And that's when they could be very, very dangerous as well, all right? Especially if they're covert, malignant narcissists. But understand this. The point in all this is that narcissists, they fool you by pretending to look happy, by pretending that their life is great. But you'll see it in their actions. When your life is great and you are happy, you're at peace, you're relaxed. And this is something that a narcissist isn't. they're not relaxed. This is why they can't stay still. All right. This is why a lot of times narcissists don't even like to stay home, because they're a nervous wreck. I've been around narcissists. They can't even stay in the house. They've got to go, 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 go. They always feel like they're missing out on something. They always feel like they got to be out there. That's all anxiety within the narcissist. And the root cause of all that is their deep-rooted, insecurity. And insecurity is going to make them anxious. So they're filled with anxiety. They're filled with depression because they never feel like they're complete. And the proof of that is because they're always looking for the next best thing. If they were complete, they wouldn't have to keep looking for more and more and more validation. They wouldn't need it if they felt complete and happy, right? So they're not happy, you guys. They're not happy, and they'll never be happy with you or anybody else. And this all goes down to the core ego of that person, all right? The narcissist is a damaged person. This is what it comes down to. They're a damaged person, usually, okay, I'm not going to say all the time, but usually from some sort of childhood trauma. Either they were neglected, they didn't get the love that they needed, maybe they needed that extra attention or validation, they never got it, they felt less than, or they were entitled. And, they felt they were entitled to treat other people like garbage, okay? So that's what it is. And when somebody feels that way, do you really think that that person is going to be happy? No, but they hide it. They hide their innermost feelings. They hide their innermost feelings, and they want to think that their life is great and everything. They don't want to feel like their life is falling apart, or that they don't have, because that would make them feel less than, right? So they always have to feel like they're more than everybody else to calm down the inner turmoil and the anxiety within themselves. So don't be fooled by these people. Don't be fooled by the fact that they look happy. They want you to think that, okay? They're worried about their image. So they want you to think their life is great. They want you to think that they're happy. But deep down, they're miserable. They're unhappy. And I spoke about this years ago. I was one of the first to ever bring this up because I went back and I reflected on all the narcissists I've dealt with. And I had a light bulb moment, and I was sitting there on the couch in my living room, and I was like, you know what? None of these people are happy. They're all unhappy, miserable, never happy, never satisfied. And I did a reel a few years ago about it, and it got copied by a lot of people. But I was thinking about all the narcissists that I dealt with, and I said, not one of them looks happy or satisfied, because they're all a nervous wreck, always looking for the next best thing. They always need something else. Nothing's ever good enough. All right. No matter how well you clean the house, they're going to have a remark to make. No matter how good you think you look, they're either going to not say anything or they're going to make a sarcastic remark. All right. And that brings me to my next point of proof narcissists are, miserably unhappy. The fact that they always, especially I'm talking primarily now with covert narcissists, they primarily have to always be sarcastic and give you a backhanded compliment, a dig, all right? A person who's constantly got to be sarcastic, all right? Sarcasm is a passive-aggressive way to kind of put somebody down, okay? So the fact that they do that shows that, they're making a joke out of you, and they're making a joke at your expense, and it's making them feel better to put you down, and they mask it in a joke. They'll say, oh, I was just joking. Oh, you can't take a joke. Oh, you can't take a joke. Typical narcissistic behavior. They do something out of pocket, okay? They put out sarcastic reels, videos, AI videos, and then what do? They gaslight, and they say, oh, we were just joking. Oh, we were just joking. No, you weren't. You were putting it out to be malicious and to put somebody else down. That's what you were doing, okay? But they mask it by saying it's a joke. Do people that are happy do that? No. People who are threatened do that, and they are threatened by you. So a person who's threatened by you is going to do little things like that. And a person who feels threatened is not a person who is happy internally, okay? Because when you're happy, you don't feel threatened by somebody, right? But an unhappy person always feels threatened, okay? And that's the narcissist. They're miserably unhappy. They feel threatened by other people, by their happiness, by whether they're doing well in their life. They're threatened by seeing other people do better than them. That's why they got to put them down or be sarcastic or do videos on them, all right? Because they're threatened by them. They're threatened by anybody that challenges the narcissist. So they have to put them down. They have to character assassinate them. They have to mock them, all right? That's not a happy person. That's a person that you get under their skin, okay? So listen to me when I tell you this. When they're doing things like that to you, guess what? You know that you're getting under their skin and you must be doing something right, okay? You must be doing something right to get under their skin, and that's because you're calling them out for their toxic behaviors. So, you guys, that's proof that this narcissist is miserably unhappy. I can go into a million other examples for you to show why a narcissist is miserably unhappy. And lastly, one other point just occurred to me that is proof that a narcissist is miserably unhappy is this. They have to be actors and actresses in order to get supply. Instead of going out and getting whatever they need and working for whatever they want in this world, no, they can't do that. Okay, they have to take the easy road. Well, it's not really the easy road, but they have to manipulate and pretend that their life is great and manipulate other people to get that supply. That can't be, that's got to make them miserable to have to sit there and put on a performance, and they can't be themselves. They can't be themselves. All right. So a happy person doesn't have to pretend to be someone else, right? They don't have to pretend to be somebody else. They can relax and be themselves. But a miserably unhappy narcissist who's after supply has to put on a performance and, an Academy Award performance for people and to manipulate people in order to get the supply. That's not a happy person. That manipulators are not happy people, okay? So they always have to manipulate because of that deep-rooted anxiety to try to satisfy the nervousness and anxiety that lies within them. And that's what they are. My best definition is they are basically a nervous wreck. And you'll see it with an overt and malignant narcissist. It will be very, apparent in front of you. They are nervous wrecks. But with a covert narcissist, it's a little more subtle. You'll see it in their facial expressions because you'll see just the anger in that covert narcissist's eyes when you are getting under their skin, or when they just hate your guts. You will see it in their eyes, the way they look at you, like they want to kill you. Okay, that's how they look at you. You will see it. All right. Is that a happy person? Let me ask you something. Is that a happy person? No, that's a disturbed person. Recognize it. That's a disturbed person. And see, that's why I said in my video yesterday about how to stop hating the narcissist. Understand this. You'll stop hating the narcissist when you finally see them for who they truly are. They are a damaged, they're sick in the head people, okay? That's what they are. That can't be themselves, that don't feel complete, that have to go around and mess up everybody else's life to feel important, to feel satisfied. So distance yourself from these people, because all of these narcissistic fleas that the narcissist has, all right? Depression, anxiety, restlessness, all of these kind of things are going to be projected onto you. You're going to, at the end of the relationship, the narcissist is going to make you, beaten down and a nervous wreck. And it's going to affect you mentally and physically because you're going to be, worn down and beaten down from all the abuse of that narcissist. Get away from these people. They're not happy people. And listen to me one last time before I cap off this podcast, because today I have an extremely crazy day. I have like a medical emergency, but I wanted to just pop this podcast out for you guys before I have to go somewhere. All right. Is understand this. All right. The narcissist will never be happy. They will never, ever be satisfied. And you being with a person who's unhappy, unsatisfied, when you're with an unhappy person, whether it's a narcissist or not, mind you, when you're with an unhappy person, that unhappy person is going to make you unhappy. All right. So you want to find people that are healthy, that are content, that can be happy, can be happy with what they have. You don't want to be with a person who's never happy, never satisfied, and miserably, always picking on everything and irritable. The fact that the narcissist is always irritable is the fact that you're dealing with an unhappy person, okay? So I hope that helps you. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast. If you're looking for confidential one-on-one phone coaching, check out the link in the bio at askyaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. I have limited time, you guys. Oh my gosh, so much going on. So you got to book ahead. Also, check out my YouTube, over 7,000 videos. For all my information, there's thousands and thousands of videos on my YouTube at The Game Exposed Podcast. TikTok is The Game Exposed, and Instagram and Facebook is The Game EXP123. And have a great day.